So when I was born, it was like, oh my gosh, she's going to be my last one. So, and then they forgot not to spoil it.
And welcome our distinguished guests, members of the Canadian Veteran Freedom Riders Long Range Reconnaissance Patrol, and to all members of the public who are here today joining us in this event. We welcome you to our annual Canada Day ceremony in memory of Corporal Robert Thomas James Mitchell and all veterans, past and present, who have paid the ultimate sacrifice for our great country that we might have the peace, security, and freedoms that we sometimes take for granted. We're also very honored to have Corporal Mitchell's parents, Bob and Carol, and Corporal Mitchell's son, Cameron, here with us this morning. Carol, of course, Silver Cross mother, and her and Bob are well known within the military and veteran communities in Grey and Bruce County. Some of you may have known Corporal Mitchell as Jim, and he was proud to serve as a member of the Royal Canadian Dragoons. Jim was killed in Afghanistan on the 3rd of October 2006 as a result of an insurgent attack. He was 32 years old and left behind his wife Leanne and children Cameron, Ryan, and Jacqueline. Jalen? I was given a wrong read on that one. Yeah, sorry, Carol. Okay. I stand corrected. Jim was laid to rest at Beechwood Cemetery in Ottawa. Don't need that anyways. On December the 28th, less than 3 months after Jim's death, the Mitchells lost their younger son, Mark, to cancer. At this time, I would like to call upon CVFR members Sergeant Roger Warren and Warrant Officer Mike Boudra to step forward to lower the flag and replace it with the new one. Roger, Mike.
Let's go.
Once the new flag has been raised and then lowered again to half staff, I would ask that we all join in and sing O Canada, which will be followed by 2 minutes of silence, followed by a lament played by our piper today, Chris McDougall. Now, our national anthem. O Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all a son's command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. And the silence. Chris, thank you very much. Roger, Mike, thank you very much. At this time, I'd like to call upon Alex Ruff, the Member of Parliament for Grey Bruce Owen Sound, to come forward and bring greetings from our federal government. Alex?
Thanks, everyone, and in particular, thanks to the CFVR, if I got that right there, the Long Range Patrol, for doing this. This is such an important occasion every year, and it means so much for the history of our country. Thanks for everybody, MPP Walker, Mayor Boddy, and all the councillors that I know are here. I think the majority of council is here, and all the friends and family of the Mitchell family. Bob, Carol, Cameron. I think what we all owe, and all Canadians owe, your son and all those that have made the supreme sacrifice for our country, is something like this. It's just not Remembrance Day. I'm proud and honored to be here, and I'm committed to being here every Canada Day, you know, pretty much no matter what, because this means so much to us locally across Bruce Grey Owen Sound, and in particular here in Owen Sound, and it's the least we can do. Canada is not a perfect country, but Canada Day is a way to celebrate who we are, our history, what got us here, and ways that we can strive to be better. So thanks so much for everybody coming here today to pay tribute to Corporal Mitchell and the Mitchell family. Thank you.
Alex, thank you very much. Next, I'd like to call upon Mr. Bill Walker, member of the Provincial Parliament for Bruce Grey, Owen Sound, to come forward and say a few good words on behalf of our provincial government.
Thank you very much. Truly always a pleasure and a privilege and frankly an honor to be here today. To Carol, to Bob, Cameron, and the extended family of the Mitchells. You know, every year when we gather on Canada Day, it's just so wonderful to reflect on what we have and what we can be grateful for, and to understand that we truly do live in the greatest country in the world. We have had a lot of things happen over the last 15 months and in the last couple of weeks that we all have to take time to reflect on. But at the end of the day, because of people like Corporal Mitchell and his memory and his legacy, we truly still have more than most people can ever dream of having. To the Freedom Riders, thank you so much. It cannot go unnoticed how you are at every event, and you bring that honor and that honor guard to every single event, and you allow all of us, again, to truly reflect. To every person who wears a uniform of any category, to the frontline workers, especially in the last 15 months, thank you so much. Again, I'm a humble, proud Canadian. To Corporal Mitchell and to everyone who's made that ultimate sacrifice, our veterans, and to those serving today and in the future, thank you so much.
Bill, thank you very much. Next, I'd like to call upon His Worship Mayor Ian Boddy to come forward and offer greetings from on behalf of the City of Owen Sound.
Thank you, Carol, Bob, Cameron, all of you. This has been a trying week. Trying week for Canada, trying week for us. You talked about freedoms that sometimes aren't appreciated. And trying to cancel Canada Day is one of those things that shows sort of an unappreciation. However, we have the freedom in this country to have that discussion. We have the freedom in this country to try and cancel Canada Day. And there's something positive in that. Apparently. It's hard to accept. I think of what Corporal Mitchell did, taking that Canadian freedom around the world and trying to share it, and so many of you here that did the same thing. I think we did some videos for council trying to come up with sort of these great Canadian moments that we've all had. And there's one that I didn't do. Brian was there with me. I know Marion was there with me. I'm not sure if Scott was. A few years ago, we went to AMO in Ottawa. And there's a fantastic presentation of the history of Canada that's broadcast in video up onto the front of the Parliament building. And we stood there, and we were surrounded by every possible color of skin you could imagine, and every headdress, and every uniform, and every culture, all there, all Canadians, all proud to be part of Canada, all came here because some of the things that Corporal Mitchell did and some of the things that you did, taking that Canadian message around the world and delivering it. At the end, of course, the Canadian flag comes up at the end of the building, and we sing "O Canada" just as we did. The volume and the pride of that song being sung by every color of skin you can imagine, and every headdress, and every uniform was amazing. We were probably the quietest ones there, which is almost embarrassing, but it was so unbelievable to be standing there and know how important Canada is to others around this country, to others within our country, and that it's not something we can take for granted. And that's something I very much noticed, appreciated, saw the outcome of what so many of you here have done, taking that message around the world, what Corporal Mitchell did, taking that message around the world and sacrificing his life. So for that, I thank all of you. I do find it kind of interesting. You notice the wind caught that flag right at the right moment and blew it out? I think we're on the right side of the argument. Happy Canada Day. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you very much, Ian. Well said. At this time, I'd like to call upon Carol Mitchell to say a few words on behalf of the Mitchell family.
Do hate these masks, but I know we have to wear them. First of all, yes, thank you everyone for coming, because there's no time that isn't a good time to celebrate Canada. Somebody said, oh, it's really great that the Freedom Riders are at every event. And you guys arrange every event. If Bob and I need something, you're there for us. You are wonderful people. And I don't know what we would have done without each and every one of you. You make me cry. You're wonderful. Thank you so much for being in our lives. When we lost our son, it was because he was fighting for freedom. And all of us fight for freedom. Freedom doesn't mean that we always get what we want. Freedom means I have a right to my opinion, and you have a right to yours. I remember saying to one of the colonels at the base, don't you get angry when they start talking this way about the armed forces? And he said, no, because I remember that I have my opinion, but that means I have to allow them their opinion if I really believe in freedom. And I really had to think about that, so there's no freedom at my house. I mean, for Bob. Not for Bob. My son loved Canada, and someone asked me, if he knew he was going to die, would he have still gone? Well, I think that every person, all of you, when you're going, there's a possibility, but you go because you love your country. You want to help other countries experience the freedom that you have. And it takes a special kind of person to do that. Now, I can't say that I wouldn't say to him, stay at home, but I think he would say to me, Mom, this I have to do. So, yes, we celebrate on the day of his death, but we remember on the day of his death and on November the 11th, but I think it's particularly important on Canada Day, because this is the day we all fight for Canada. And if that means telling our council that, hey, we do want a celebration, or telling our representatives that, no, we do want the Lord's Prayer, or we do want this. It might not happen for us, but we have the right to say it. And I don't think every country can say that. So I thank all of you for coming in. It brings me a lot of joy to see your faces year after year and new faces, because then I know that, not only will my son not be forgotten, but none of the soldiers will be forgotten, because everybody's here celebrating the country and those people who help keep it safe. So I also want to invite everyone back for sandwiches and drinks at our place after the ceremony. So thank you so much for coming.
Thank you very much for those heartfelt words, Carol. Before we close off here today, I'd be almost remiss if I didn't kind of go back on my abilities as a bit of a historian to bring up that as we celebrate Canada Day, in which today is a day of remembrance, for it was 105 years ago, on July the 1st, 1916, the opening round of the Battle of the Somme, the Newfoundland Regiment was tasked as, I believe it was the third wave of the attack, and 850 young men from that, at that time it was a colony, and they went over the top at a place called Beaumont-Hamel. Well, in a matter of less than an hour, they had suffered 80% casualties. 324 killed, 386 wounded, virtually wiping out their regiment. And that was just a small part of that tragic day on the Somme, as the British Empire suffered over 57,000 casualties in one day. We shall never forget their sacrifice. As Carol mentioned, there's a reception following at Bob and Carol Mitchell's place. And before we break off, I'd like to acknowledge the presence here today of members of the City Council, as well as the Mayor. Barry Jack from Royal Canadian Legion Branch 6, as well as a representative from Clarksburg Thornbury Legion, John Parola. Thanks for everybody coming out. Also, Emily Joliffe from the Billy Bishop Museum. I'm not sure if she's here. But anyways, thanks for everybody for coming out and attending, and have a wonderful and enjoyable Canada Day. Thank you.